What is up, denizens of the interwebs? It's Arthur Chaz here coming at you with the video, and it's getting a little wild out there. As over the weekend, there was a recent squirrel who was unfortunately euthanized for no reason whatsoever as a result of government overreach. For those of you who are not aware, there was a squirrel named Peanut the Squirrel who was a major online celebrity being thrown all over TikTok and Instagram, who was being used to sponsor a wildlife rehabilitation system that this couple was running through New York City. However, they did not have a lot of the paperwork required, so after several complaints of improper care or whatever they used, a New York department raided their house, grabbed the squirrel and raccoon, tore their house to shreds, and euthanized the two animals without any kind of due cause. They claimed because they were living with humans and their wild animals, they might have had a risk of rabies, and they claimed that because one of the people running the raid got bit, that it was grounds to euthanize them, even though we have no evidence that Peanut the Squirrel actually bit anyone because of the fact that the people holding out the raid did not have their body cams on, which is, as far as I'm aware, is not policy in New York. I'm pretty sure you have to have it running. Though if I'm wrong about that, feel free to correct me in the comments. And this has caused a massive storm online as people online on Twitter and whatnot are seeing it for exactly what it is, the most egregious form of government overreach that is an absolute betrayal and destruction of our rights as people and as citizens and as pet owners. And the people on the left who cannot help but defend government overreach, government authoritarianism and whatnot are out here saying that the MAGA squirrel deserved to die. Absolutely animalistic things to say. These kind of statements make Peanut look more human than they are. But let's take a look at some of those articles. So like, subscribe, and let's get into this. So the first place I want to stop from is from Newsweek, how Peanut the Squirrel became the center of a MAGA firestorm, written by Flynn Nichols. The decision of a New York wildlife officials to euthanize the squirrel named Peanut, who was famous on social media, has ignited a firestorm response from prominent MAGA Republicans claiming government overreach. Well, we're not claiming anything. That's what it is. If you don't see this as government overreach, you're lying to yourself and everyone around you. Now, the owner of Peanut was Mark Longo, a 34-year-old New Yorker whose house was raided by state officials who seized and euthanized Peanut as well as Fred the raccoon, because everyone always forgets about poor Fred, who Longo had rescued. Claiming that the authorities came to his Pine City, New York home after an anonymous complaint about the animal's living condition. We supposedly know who was the one behind the complaints, though that's not 100% proven, but she has deleted all of her socials, and she did brag on Facebook about being the one responsible. What a piece of shit human being. The notion that you think you have any right to go out and do that because you're jealous of them or because you have some grievance against these people you've never met is absolutely disgusting. Now, the two animals were featured on the Instagram account Peanut the Squirrel 12, which currently has 692,000 followers. Now, it's even crazier that Longo had cared for Peanut for 7 years after he rescued the squirrel after witnessing his mother being struck by a car in New York City. Longo's Instagram page includes videos of the squirrel doing tricks, and I see some, they're fucking adorable. The one issue with this is you don't have to euthanize a squirrel or an animal to see if they got rabies. The standard procedure is not euthanizing and then brain scrapings, which is a way to detect rabies. Standard procedure is, observation. You put them away and you observe what happened you observe to see if they degenerate into a state of being rabid, or if they are perfectly fine. And given the fact these animals are indoor animals who haven't been outside in a very long time unobserved, the odds of them having rabies is astronomically small. But of course, that doesn't matter to authoritarians who are just trying to get a bit of a power trip. And this really started to come ahead when on Sunday, the former president Donald Trump, and hopefully as of today, the president-elect, but we'll see how that goes, running mate Ohio Senator J.D. Vance told a crowd at Sanford, North Carolina rally that Trump was fired up about the death of the squirrel, officially creating it as a bit of a right-wing talking point, though it's not right-wing. This isn't right-wing at all. This is libertarian. He was like, is it really the case that the Democrats murdered the Elon Musk of squirrels? Vance added. Elon Musk also made a statement, and he's endorsed Trump, as we know, and he's doing an amazing job trying to canvass out in Pennsylvania to get people to go out and vote for Trump, where he had made a tweet saying, "Vote for Peanut, for liberty, for freedom." And the post has been viewed over 33 million times, has garnered over 255,000 likes by Monday morning. And thank God for Musk buying X, because without Musk buying and creating X, I don't believe we would have ever gotten this story to really see the light of day or have any kind of real impact. On Saturday, Musk wrote another X post: "The government should not be allowed to barge into your house and kill your pet. That's messed up. Even if it is illegal to have a pet squirrel, which it shouldn't be, why kill Peanut instead of simply releasing him to the forest?" Now, for being the smartest guy alive right now, that's kind of a dumb statement. The reason you can't release Peanut is pretty obvious. He's not wild. He's domesticated. Peanut's fully domesticated, and if you release him into the forest, he dies. As was said by Longo, they actually had attempted to release Peanut after healing him up and make sure he grew up safely, when Peanut quickly returned with a part of his tail missing as he got into a bout with another squirrel or another animal. Peanut's not fit for the wild. Releasing him would just be a crueler way to kill him. Meanwhile, prominent MAGA Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and Mike Collins issued warnings at Trump's Sunday rally in Macon, Georgia, saying the killing of the squirrel represented government overreach, which they said was indicative of the Democratic Party. Trump's running against a socialistic, big government, control everything about you woke regime, Collins told the crowd. This thing's gotten so bad, they're killing the pets, they're killing the squirrels, they're killing the raccoons, and they're eating the dogs, and they're eating the cats, and they're eating the birds, and all the other, the fun words. Well, what's wrong with that? The nice thing, or I guess, no, the annoying thing is none of these people tell us anything. These people are not telling us a damn thing about what's actually going on, they're telling us what's going on. These sites are not telling us a damn issue with this. How is this not proof of government overreach? They won't justify it. They won't explain why this was a justified killing of a squirrel. Because guess what? There are a million other things you could have done first before euthanizing the squirrel. If they could actually offer me a counterpoint to the claim that this was government overreach, maybe I'd have a bit of better faith in them. But they're not telling us why they think this was justified. Other than the fact that it was illegal to own the pet squirrel and the fact that they're happy this is pissing off the magtards. I think the Democrats in New York City went in and raided a home to kill a squirrel. They did, to kill a squirrel, yet it was the same state of New York that would let criminal illegal alien go that came to Georgia that murdered our very own Laken Riley. Let's not forget, I believe it was 2 days before they killed Peanut, an illegal migrant sexually assaulted a 5-year-old girl and wasn't charged with anything. Isn't even being investigated currently. Now, the cool thing is, Newsweek seems to have a bit of a fairness meter that I guess people are allowed to do. I love the fact that this is not lying at all. This is objectively incredibly... Okay, that's a bit higher than I want. Let's go... Can I get it lower? I cannot get it any lower. It goes right there. Let's confirm my selection. Fuck you, Newsweek. How about you report on the facts? How about you report on the fact that this absolutely was government overreach and unjustified? But Newsweek isn't the only site saying a whole bunch of bullshit in regards to Peanut and trying to obfuscate from the fact that this was, in fact, government overreach. It's coming over from Gizmodo, written by Matthew Gault. Peanut the Squirrel becomes right-wing martyr in final election push from the extremely online. Trying to say that the only people who care about the death of Peanut are just terminally online chuds, people who don't matter, people who are just sad and don't have anything going in their lives, so they spend all their time online, and this is exactly what's wrong with the conservative party. This is a load of bullshit, this article. Nothing in this article is actually factual whatsoever, and just goes to show exactly how out of touch mainstream media is, and exactly why mainstream media is losing so much. This article epitomizes everything wrong with the Democratic Party today. Also, I love this picture. I think this is better than the snake. The snake's pretty cool. My favorite one was where they were putting things over the snake saying, "I'll tread where I want," which isn't the win you think it is. With people posting things like this, mostly far-left trans individuals posting stuff like this saying, "You can't take my rights." But the funny thing is, they don't seem to know what this means. So, for those of you who are not smart enough or just haven't heard what the Gadsden flag means, because the Gadsden flag is the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. What that means is the government cannot tell me what to do with my life. You, the government, cannot control me. What "I'll tread wherever I want" or "I'll tread where I please" flags mean is the government can do whatever the fuck they want to me. That is calling for authoritarianism and government control and is 1,000,000% wrong. Now, coming from Gott, there was a sense from the right online that the squirrel signaled the end of Kamala Harris and the Democrats. Here was a clear violation of a person's rights and the perfect martyr for their cause. Are we going to win this election because of a fucking squirrel? Mike Benz, executive director of Foundation for Freedom Online, said in an X post. Well, no. Should Trump win, it won't be because of a last-minute bump from people upset that the state of New York killed an internet-famous squirrel. Peanut is yet another symptom of the terminally online insanity that has plagued the GOP in recent years. Part of what ended Ron DeSantis' bid for the presidential nomination in January was his staff's infatuation with the weird online cultural bullshit. He obsessed over Disney, which read as weak and weird to normal voters. The final nail in the coffin occurred when one of his 2 online staffers published a fascist fan cam. Now, no, being online isn't what killed Ron DeSantis' bid for the presidential nomination. What killed it is he's running against Donald Trump. Trump was guaranteed to win the Republican nomination. Hard stop. Ron DeSantis had no chance. Nikki Haley had no chance. Vance had no chance. Vivek Ramaswamy had no chance. There's a reason all of these people dropped the race with the exception of Nikki Haley, because they understood that the GOP, in order to win this year, had to be Trump. It could not be anyone else. DeSantis tried to fight because I honestly don't trust DeSantis as anything more than a bit of a power-hungry guy. I think he's doing good in Florida, especially with all of his tax cuts, but I really don't think he has what it takes to run any kind of party I'd want to be in any kind of party I'd want to be affiliated with. And let me make it very clear. I am not a Republican. I am not right-wing. I am an extreme libertarian. Almost all of my views are based in libertarianism. I do not believe DeSantis is pro-libertarian, and I think he would be fully willing to eliminate rights to increase his power if that's what it came to. So no, DeSantis did not lose out because someone on him posted a fascist fan cam. I looked at it, they didn't really tell me what it was. Or the fact he's obsessed over Disney. In fact, being obsessed over Disney is exactly one of the things that gave DeSantis any kind of chance. It wasn't weird to normal voters. It was coming out as actually calling out the bullshit that's behind Disney and the fact that they're actively abusing people and manipulating things behind the scenes that they shouldn't be doing. And it really called attention to the fact that they're really trying to push groomer stuff into Disney shows. I'm a gay man. Everything that they push in modern Disney stuff that's very much pro-gay needs to be gotten out of there. And the fact that DeSantis was calling for neutrality on that, that's the thing. DeSantis wasn't calling for far-right exposure in media. He was calling for neutrality in media, which is very, very important. But I love how they just try to obfuscate everything by calling it weird online discourse and whatnot. It's so idiotic. God continues, and Trump is even losing the extremely online fascist vote. On November 2nd, white nationalist Groyper Nick Fuentes said he'd realized Trump is a cult. Two things here. First of all, isn't that a good thing that he's pushing away the fascists? Like, legitimate. Like, I thought when I first heard about Nick Fuentes, I thought people were exaggerating. No, dude's legitimately insane. But here's the thing. I don't think Fuentes is a fascist. I think he's either controlled opposition or somehow gayer than me. Just trying to get a voice because he's so afraid of his actual feelings. This dude is either lying to everyone or he is lying to himself. There's no way he actually believes what he spouts because it is so insane that I just cannot comprehend someone actually having those kind of beliefs. Nick Fuentes is either a liar, an actually clinically insane person, or a faggot. And there's no in between. He's one of those three and there's no other option. But guess what? If we're chasing Nick Fuentes out, that's a good thing. That's the problem with the Republican Party. Is we have so many neocons, rhinos, and legitimately terminally insane people in the party that it's causing all the issues. That's the key thing. Every single time Republicans get any kind of foot forward, some dipshit rhino or neocon has to say something bullshit about culture and pushes back 20 yards. So once we finally get those people out of the party, send them to the party they belong in, to the Democrat Party, because that's where these people's values actually align with, are the Democrats. We can finally have a party that actually represents the general population. And to be clear, I don't actually care about associating Republicans, but I would much rather have a party I can stick with for a while that actually represents the people instead of hopping between the two parties that hate us the least at any given moment. Because that's what it feels like right now. But I think with the MAGA movement and with Trump, we could really get to a place where we could have a party that actually matters and is actually conducive. God also comments that the garbage thing isn't playing well for Puerto Rican fans either. After a comedian opened Trump's recent Madison Square Garden rally with a racist joke that called Puerto Rico an island of garbage, it's true, and Biden Captain called Trump supporters garbage, which is absolutely disgusting of him to do because he's attacking literally 60% of the country. So Obama, tell me, who is it that's spreading all this divisiveness? It's definitely not Trump. A comedy claims was misheard. Well, no, he didn't claim anything because he has dementia. He doesn't remember what he said. The GOP attempted to reclaim the label. Trump supporters dressed up like garbage, and Trump himself did a photo op in a garbage truck. Trump distanced himself from the comedian while attempting to embrace the image of his followers as garbage. Well, no, he didn't distance himself from Kill Tony. He was never really affiliated with Kill Tony. Kill Tony wanted to make a statement. He hasn't said anything that would distance them. Kill Tony's statements are not Trump statements either. I don't know why people would think they are. This is objectively lying in news articles. This is objective journalist corruption and journalists lying. This is not an article. This is an op-ed. And God finishes off here. If Trump loses this election, it'll be in part because his campaign lost itself in the sauce of the online world. As the election entered the final stretch, Trump and his team spent their days tweeting about squirrels and garbage. It's not a compelling pitch. And that's where you're wrong and why you will lose, assuming this is a fair election. Trump isn't appealing to the establishment. Trump isn't appealing to your kind of people. He's not appealing to the subsets. He is appealing to the everyman. And because you yourself cannot relate to the everyman, you do not see this for what it is. This is not him going out there and trying to wave his money around and attract money bag people. This isn't him trying to force Diddy party attendees to give him endorsements where they don't need to. This is him being a legitimate person, relating to the average person, understanding the average person, and agreeing with the average person. Donald Trump is, crazily enough, the politician of the everyman, and his cabinet goes to show that. The last article I want to go over is this one from The Independent, written by Kaylee Werner. Peanut the Squirrel's owner denies using pet's death to promote OnlyFans, as the mainstream media is now trying to devalue Longo as a person and try to frame him as being some kind of degenerate who's abusing and grifting off of this situation, which is just plain not true. Now, one of the other things about the Peanut situation that's absolutely fucked up is Longo was in the process of getting the proper licensing for Peanut to be certified as an educational animal, which would have qualified him to have been kept as a pet. Now, this one has some of the details regarding the absolutely insane situation around the raid, as we know for a fact that the DEC had demanded they tell them the location of any cameras in their house, which of course there were a lot of them, demanded the footage from those cameras, demanded they go through all of the stuff, all the cabinets, all the shelves, even opening shampoo bottles in Longo's house to search for any other kind of rodents or things they could use against them. They detained them for 5 hours. They prevented them from feeding their other animals, who were all also rescues, leading to, for instance, their horses missing at least 2 meals. And then they went and they criticized and tried to find a reason to deport Longo's wife, who is a legal immigrant from Germany, which led to a lot of questions as to why aren't they doing the same thing to the illegal immigrants who are actively raping and killing kids in New York right now. It sounds like to some that the reason for the reports was because some people didn't approve of what Longo and his wife were shooting in their own time when doing intimate footage for their OnlyFans. But everything he's filmed with his wife has been legal, and he's not using animals' deaths to promote his OnlyFans. Maybe if he's actively featuring the animals in his OnlyFans, you can make a comment, but I'm not saying anything suggesting that's the truth. I'm not going to look it up. But also, I don't care that they have an OnlyFans. The whole point of people pointing out his OnlyFans are trying to use it as a way to devalue him and his value. Trying to say, look, he's a disgusting degenerate. Don't you hate him, maggots? They're trying to devalue him, completely ruin the story, and take away from the actual important message that this was government overreach. But guess what? Most of us don't give 2 flying squirrel fucks whether or not he has an OnlyFans. He's allowed to do what he wants to do. He's not pinning it to the Peanut Instagram. He's not featuring it in the Peanut Instagram. It's irrelevant to the story. The only point to bring it up is to try and ruin his case and try to make him look worse than he is. So let's not get it twisted. Let's not get distracted, because this 100% is designed to distract all the defense coming from the articles. If you had any sense of journalistic integrity, you would admit this was, in fact, a piece of government overreach. The fact that you cannot step aside to agree with MAGAs whenever there's something to actually agree on just devalues your side even more, and there's a reason so many people are leaving you. If you think it's okay to break into houses and kill squirrels because they don't have the proper paperwork, if you think it's okay for the ATF to go and kill dogs when doing house raids for guns that people are legally owning, if you think any of that's okay, you're the problem. You are an authoritarian piece of shit. You support strong government. You support government overreach. You support what actually started to kick off World War II. The events leading to it, the group that was the villain of that, they started out by doing government overreach that bunch of people like you would have waved away as being fine because the side who was angry about it you don't like. Instead of trying to defend people because you agree with their politics, why don't you look at what's actually going on? Why don't you address what's actually going on in the real world and actually try to critically think about these ideas for a change? This wasn't a rational thing to do. This wasn't reasonable. This wasn't fair. This was an objective measure of government overreach, and it's exactly the most disgusting and vile thing, and is exactly the kind of thing that is exactly why Trump should be president. Because when he's in there, he promises to weaken the central government, which is always going to be a good thing. A weaker government is always better than a strong one, and so therefore, I think we should replace the snake on the gas and flag with Peanut forever. Never let them forget what they took from us. Never let them forget what they did. If we forget, then they will do it again. This isn't about some squirrel. This isn't about MAGA or right wing. This isn't a right wing issue at all. This is a human rights issue. This is an issue about our personal rights, our personal liberties, and our personal privacy. Because if we let them get away with killing a squirrel, next week it'll be a dog, and then it'll be a baby, and then it'll be a person, and then eventually it'll be everyone who disagrees with them. This is a slippery slope that will get bad if we let it. So stand strong, hold the line, and let's get Trump elected today. Because honestly, I don't know what we're going to do if he isn't. I'm not the kind of person who generally falls behind another politician, but he has proven himself to be someone worth putting all that weight behind, especially when you look at his powerful cabinet of Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, JD Vance, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, a whole bunch of Democrats who have defected and joined not the Republicans, but have joined Trump. So get out today, cast your ballot, let me know what you think about this, and I will see you guys on the next one.